Satini, dekat Johan, ja, gedeen dusniki, nak achjiu, dasa atuye yeti. Echwasaku. De achtwasaku chwasaniki. Achtwasaku chwasniki. Uh, so today we're talking about verbs and looking at a verb theme and then using the information that we know or have access to in order to predict the verb modes based on that theme. We do have conversations that we're going to do, but we're bumping those ahead a little bit just so we can have fun with verbs. Someone told me today you're supposed to say, this stuff is so fun, and you are definitely going to get it. And so what we're doing is we're grabbing verb themes from the book of themes, and we're not really grabbing the definition. So this one is to dipnet. We just did one to chill something. I guess I did grab the definition on that one. So I get it incomplete on the second one. And then we are predicting the command form, perfective, negative perfective, future, negative future, just to see how we are. And then every now and then we'll throw on a hortative. And if we're feeling wild in the next half hour, we might do like potentials or something, but probably not. Okay. So where we left off was this verb, which is to dipnet for fish. There is a story where people were dipnetting for driftwood. I don't know why, but this verb would work for dipnetting for probably anything. So what we figured out is this one up here is a zero conjugation, which means there's nothing that needs to pop up because, well, in the command, a command to review, we just went over a rule, was for a command for a singular second person, you don't need a pronoun unless the verb has a plus D classifier, then you must have the pronoun. So then we have anistik to command someone to dipnet, and we have just put together the perfective outzidig. So we know that in this case, this classifier will be plus I. This will not go away. Because it's not conjugation, we expect it to be long and low. So they dip netted. What if they didn't dip net?
Would it be plus Augustique?
It sure will. Right. And so this is following these patterns that we're sort of looking at in terms of what happens. And so they didn't. What about they're gonna? So we went over another. So with the third person future, you got kind of two main options. If your classifier is da, sa, sha, or sha, then it has to have guch in front of it. Guchda, guchsa, guchsha, guchsha. All the others will get gukwa or kukwa. And in this case, the A in front of it, we should expect it to go. So, basically we have ga, ga, u, zero. And then we should end up with the negative the minus I version of this. So this, because it's not sa, so without this, you would have good plus. But because you have this in front of it, you will get uk plus. That leaves us with, what is the stem going to be?
Long and high.
You just want to be long and high. Then our cheat code, put clash in front of it, copy paste, make it low. They will and won't, right? Any question? We do. Oh, this one was right in there. Okay, I'm not going to grab the definition. It's to acquire the object, to succeed, to accomplish something, or to defeat the object. Yeah, we're going big. Down page. Okay. How do you command someone to succeed or to get it? Obtain it.
Nitlak.
Well, so this is not there's no D here. So there's no subject marker. And we have to keep the ya. So we should expect
Yanadla.
Yanadla. They succeeded or they obtained it.
Yawadla.
Ayawatla. They did not obtain it. So here in our prefix, we have ya, you, zero, yeah. So what's going to happen here is we're going to have play and we're going to have something. Same, same, add this, same, same, goes to zero. It will stay long and low. So now we have to build that part. Starts with a. Give me one thing that might come next.
Yes. Ayawulak.
Yes. So what happens here? This stays there. Then these two will combine to become w. There's nothing else there. So you get kesh ayawutla. So ayawa, right? So it's just like internalizing these patterns, continuing to think about how these go. Because
What?
go ahead.
Oh, I always get really confused about when the comes in when it's not this one isn't thematic, right? It's a
Yeah,
like a
it's not.
third
Right?
person thing. But
So
why is it there? Why wouldn't it be just Yawadlok or Yawudlok?
you have this is one because a lot of times people think about succeeding with this verb, but it's more like I succeeded it, or like I defeated it, I obtained it. There isn't, once you see an object there in the theme, it cannot go away. It will not. So the third person, what happens? This becomes zero, which triggers this. So for example, how would I say? So I would take this. Here's our pattern. We're going to end up with la. That's going to stay the same. How would I say I succeeded?
Yahwaglok.
Yeah, so that goes to cha, which reverts that back to zero. And I didn't. I didn't succeed. I didn't get it.
Tlesh Yakutlak.
So what happens here? We go from two A's, from y and ya, to one. Because we have, what happens here? That goes to, we do get this, but these two pretty much always just, oops, but they always just combine. What about, so what if I wanted to say, so if I take this is my prefix here, and I wanted to say, oops, one, what is that saying? Two, how would we say it in Lingi?
Cut is
Is
the
it
object.
is it I uh succeeded because of them?
No.
No.
So this is to for S to obtain O, for S to succeed, and then O is just like still there, or for S to defeat O.
They beat me.
They beat me. And what we would end up with is that. So basically, we would take a and turn it into chat. And so now, like, we can take this a step further because we should know we're going to end up with yak and then tesh yak and now you can say tesh cut yak la. So for our prefix, we've got et plus yeah yeah yeah. And what does that say? Oh, whoops, sorry. Hold on. I did that wrong. These guys changed. Yeah. Well. So
You did not defeat me.
not did not. There will be
Oh.
Peshat Yidla, which we'll write it. Peshat Yidla. All right. Peshat Yidla.
You will not beat me.
Will not defeat me. We're on the basketball court. Awesome. Okay. Questions? Sky do.
I seem to like have a hard time deciding what is the chut that you have the high tone for and the chut that has no high tone.
The only one that has a high tone is going to say something like Yad Yachat or Chat Ayah. So it's independent. It's not linked to any verb or anything else. Like once it's part of the verb, it has to be low tone. This is the only one that's high when you say it's me or here I am or Chat Qo'ah. So those are the only really times that you see that when you're just clarifying that it's you. Otherwise, they're all
Okay. Sheesh. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, because I saw it in Chachataya, and then I seem to keep putting high tones on all of them.
right.
So if it's connected to any verb, it'll always have a low tone.
Yep.
Or no tone. I guess not low.
Okay, good question. Well, let's see. Yeah, let's grab this one. Okay. So cork something to plug it up, to plug the mouth of something. Okay, so this gives us everything that we need. Do you have a question? Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, you said this is to cork something and it uses like the um to refer to like the mouth, but would it be would you change that if it was to cork? Like, because I remember in one of my stories, I had a hard time trying to figure out how to say, like, I would like plug up. So I use the cork verb, but to like plug up my nose.
Yeah, that would work.
Okay.
But I would probably say ch. And then because there's one without the ch on there. So I'd say ach ch kukwadik. But this one it would work for like what do they call those things? The pacifier. Put the pacifier in the baby's mouth. Plug that baby up. Okay, plug. What's the command form then for plug up that baby? Zero goes away, zero. This tells you this should be. This is actually pretty short. I'm looking for two syllables.
A D.
Dick. Look it up. This one does a kind of a tricky thing. So if we do, so here's zero, yeah, zero, yeah. We do get into a special exception category here. Oops, so this should be and then it's apostrophe. So with and sa, I think these are the only two that do this, right? And what do you think it's going to do? It's going to do something a little strange. Like think of the
Hey,
what's that?
like hey, like a
Yes,
EI.
yes. So a wa dik, right? And so you just have to because it's just like when you say chat se wa at, it's the exact same thing as this. It's this combination. And this isn't that unusual. So going to a does happen, just like in daqtlawedi, which comes from keo. So we see there there's this kind of vowel switching that happens between those two. So sewa at yuqewatan, right? Aqewadik. But it won't happen when you do the negative, right? Because it really has to do with this plus that. So when we have clash, stays, add the irialis, that goes to zero. This should go long. It should go long and low, but it'll stay high. Clash.
Would it be a Y?
We go kind of, I guess, back up. It's gonna look a lot like that.
Mm.
But what's gonna happen is ya will change to ka. That singular change, right? So we can just copy that, a yabu, and then we'll go down to wherever we were. So like a bunch of this stuff is pattern building, but it's also like, oh yeah, I remember these ones, right? And so it's such an interesting thing to do this kind of stuff. And then we should have a kakwa, and then the, and then we'll be able to do this same thing where we'll say clash. And in this case, it stays high. They're going to plug it up. They're not going to plug it up. Ah, Skydo.
So what if it was something more, I guess, like metaphorical, if you were saying like that head cold, or like I guess you could say head sickness plugged me up.
Oh, like I think you would end up with a very similar verb root.
Mm.
Go back to the themes. We've got die, and we look up above it. I would say it's probably going to be, we're going to grab this one. So this is to be plugged up or to be constipated. I use this, it means constipated, right? If you just said that on its own,
Uh,
so people would be
so
thinking,
this would mean for like if your like body, like, because I was thinking more like your nose being, when I have a really bad cold, it feels like my nose is plugged up.
yeah, I guess that I think you got two options there, and that comes down to whether you're saying, you would say, I would say probably, "Ach, shishawa hik qaitlin." My nose is full of snot. But that means like I've got a lot of snot. But if it's even in English, like, you just say, oh, I just got a runny nose, or I've got, I got to keep blowing my nose. But if it's like plugged up, because sometimes if you go from being sick to starting to get better, sometimes you do get a lot of that mucus drying up in there, and then you would end up with something like this. But I used this before too, when they were like doing a whole bunch of road construction on the way to the university. And so like everybody was 20, 30 minutes late to class all the time. And so I said, wait, day. We'll get to the perfective. So this one, it's an event verb with an object. So you're not really going to get a command form. Like you can have a command form for this other one, but the command form requires there to be a subject. So this one, you would say, Sadiq. That's how you would say. Um, but this is different. Like this one down here was put a cork in it. This would be like stuff a bunch of things in there so it gets clogged up. So I guess that would be more like clog it. Which maybe you might say, I don't know what you're supposed to do when people get like a nosebleed that won't stop, but I just like stuff it. I'd like roll a little Kleenex piece and just dick it, right? Or dick it. So in this case, we're going to go straight to the perfective. It is constipated, plugged up. Object will be zero. I'll have a perfective. What should the classifier be?
Z.
And then what should this vowel be? Zero
Short and
close,
high.
short and high. Yep. So now we should be able to put it together. What's a dick? What about class? I'll get that. So we'll go minus I.
Would you stick?
Well, it's got to go wuss.
Stick.
Yep. And now for, I'm going to get 0, yeah, and S. So that should get us to the. So this one, we're like, because there's no vowel in the classifier, you're going to get gugus. If there was a vowel in front of it, for example, de, now this would trigger the contraction. But otherwise, you would say gugustik. Someone just eats no vegetables. Kalkayani hasucha. Ha gukastik. Okay. Okay. We got pause. Anya nechtla. What are we doing? What's our plan for what
Yeah.
from today?
Yeah, so next Thursday. I think that's actually Halloween. So
Oh, it is. That's right.
crazy. Yeah.
It might be we might do a short class. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll probably just go right to the
Um,
conversation.
I'm getting the link. So I made like a plan-ish. And I'll put it in the chat, but then I'll also just share my screen really quick. Basically, I want to talk about song and dance, and like I guess like specifically traditional Tlingit song and dance. And I thought it would be fun for people who also sing and dance to share about like that kind of thing in their community, like what kinds of dances they do, what they wear, things like that. So I have some videos that I picked um about the history of dancing and like the origins of Tlingit dancing. So this first one, I think the ones I really think people should watch are these two links. This one is, and I have a timestamp here. This is from a Qajahin dancer's performance at Celebration from 1994. And it talks about Charlie Joseph Qath'at's story of the origin of dancing. But I also found this one from Qajakte, which is pretty different. And I don't know if it's talking about a different style of dancing, but this one is all in Tlingit, so I thought that that would be good. And this one's only about a minute long. I think this one you can also watch the actual dance that goes along with like that particular story, and that's what the timestamp has. And then I had some optional things if you want to watch to get more familiar with different styles of dancing in Shitka, because that's where I'm from, and that's the dancing I'm familiar with, and that's what I'm going to talk about. But then this was just like nobody has to talk about all of this, but this was just possible prompts and topics that you could talk about if you want to. So, like I said, what do people wear to dance in your community? Do you know like why or where that comes from? Different styles of dancing you're familiar with. I thought that would be a good opportunity for people to talk about like to use like different verbs and like ways to describe like how people move. That was my plan and what I'm gonna try to do. Um, any teachings about song and dance that you know or are familiar with and are able to share. Um, you could even like talk about your favorite song or show us a video. And like you can just talk about different types of dances. For example, I don't know if I'm going to talk about this, but for example, like a couple weeks ago, actually, I talked about like wearing ear loops or the gukten. So like talking about like that. I don't know if every community does that, but like if you want to talk about that in your community. And then if you want to talk about, I know there's so many celebration videos on YouTube that are really fun to watch. And I noticed when I watch those, the way that songs and dances have like changed over time. So that was just ideas for what you could talk about. And then, yeah, so these links are what I feel like everyone should watch. If you don't have something to talk about from your own community, watch those, talk about those. And then optional, and then prompts. And this is in the discussion sign up sheet too. I put a link there for my slot, and then the link is there in the
Okay.
chat.
Wonderful. We did an immersion in Shitka in 2019, and I got some dance phrases from Dastaya, so I put those in the chat. And I'll put the rest of the notes on there just in case you want. There was a bunch of cool things that came out of that. I think it's where she named the microwave oven. Oh, here's some other ones. Well, maybe not. Okay, fabulous. gonna cheesh. So no class on Tuesday. Thursday, because it's a holiday and some people have kids like to go around, and maybe you like to go around and knock on people's doors and so we'll probably go like Galyach at 5:30 and at 6:30. So good work. Mess around with verbs is very fun stuff. I think it does unlock lots of things. I know there's lots of moving pieces to think about, so it can become a real head scratcher, but it's easy and fun, and you're so good at it. Belchishu, Eu
Mm.
Steve.
Sheesh,
Cheesh.
Cheese.
And it's cheese.
Oh, Une,
Uh,
I had a quick question.
okay.
I was curious. I had just recently heard that way back in the day when they first made contact, the elder women who had big labrets, that their bottom front teeth were worn down. And I was curious if you've ever heard of that.
I don't think I have. I know that the lips they went out pretty far. But no, I hadn't heard that. So
Okay.
I thought
Yeah,
they
because
took them out to
I
eat.
oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I know. I heard that. I was like, oh, but I tried to look into it and I couldn't quite find anything else. Lots of details on all of it. Not a lot of details on their actual dental hygiene in regards to the laborers, right? Anyways, something kind of off topic. I don't know if you have to go or not. I was told by Dan Monteith that you could go over right across from Mock Lake and find the little fossils over there.
Oh wow.
I don't know if I told you this one or not, but I found two, looked like there was a tree trunk. It's like, oh, someone drank and then they put their bottles in there. I was gonna clean it up and just find trash or just throw it in my bag. And I went over there, and sure enough, it was. But they weren't modern. They had to be like 1930s, 1950s. They said federal law prohibits the use or sale of this bottle, and there was three of them. I got a quart and a pint one. So then I went back, and he goes, "Oh well, you're not quite looking in the right area. You got to go back over here." So I was like, "Okay." So I went back over to this other spot,